A revolution is unfolding. Invisible, global, and virtually impossible to avoid. More than 90% of the world's data appeared in just the past 2 years, transforming everything from retail to medicine.
Many more patients will be cured, and many more patients will live.
But this explosion of data is also raising fundamental questions about democracy.
Hillary Clinton should not even be allowed to run for the presidency.
About privacy.
Your user agreement sucks.
And about society's most basic freedoms.
When would a killing end? Put 2 minutes on that!
Life Force 1 on 2305, and her risk is Category 1.
All right, Angie.
Erlanger Hospital, Tennessee.
Are you hurting anywhere?
The medical staff here are at the forefront of efforts to transform healthcare with data. And those efforts could make the difference between life and death.
Past medical history is significant for hypertension. Clear.
Nick Bowers is one of the latest patients to be rushed to the emergency ward.
Because he's having a great deal of difficulty speaking. Ask him to smile.
Can you give me a smile, big smile? Give me a big smile.
He's suspected of having a clot in his brain.
Right side, and it looks slightly irregular.
For Nick, every second counts.
There is no more time-sensitive condition in all of medicine than stroke. Every hour, minute, and seconds we can shave off the diagnosis, the better the patients will do.
At many hospitals, there can be critical delays in analysing brain scans. Hours can go by before patients are properly diagnosed and transferred for emergency treatment. But Dr. Tom Devlin's team is using a new data-driven tool. It's able to analyse a scan of Nick's brain in a fraction of the time doctors would normally take. Called Viz AI, its machine learning technology quickly draws on vast amounts of medical data gathered from years of research.
You can see it well, can't you?
Good, yeah.
Yeah. The Viz technology has a tremendous amount of data built into the system of where these arteries are, what these arteries should look like, and where there should be blood flow. And when there's interruption in that blood flow, it sends off an alert. Can you say today is a sunny day? Say today is a sunny day. Can you say that for me?
Viz AI has identified a clot that is blocking blood flow in Nick's brain.
It's right there.
So right there is where the blockage is. So the goal now is to get the clot out of the brain as quickly as we can. If we cannot get this clot out of the brain, that this whole area of brain that you see here in green, the whole area will be dead most likely. He may permanently have some weakness on that right side, and he may not be able to speak normally in the future at all.
This hospital is pioneering another data-driven technology that could save lives. Carol Reed is being prepped for open heart surgery, an operation that itself carries a significant risk of a stroke.
So, there's a lot of people actually that have strokes during surgery. We see it more than we would like to see it, certainly. And some people get better, but there's a number of people.
The trouble is, strokes can't usually be detected until the operation is over. It's a risk that Carol is all too familiar with. Her own mother suffered a stroke during an operation.
Did they know about it as soon as she came out of surgery?
No, nobody knew until she came to, and a little time had passed and she wasn't right. So.
A number of days or so.
Yeah.
Today, Carol will be the world's first patient to have her brain monitored for signs of a stroke during heart surgery. It's an innovation that could transform the outcome for heart surgery patients across the world. As Carol goes under the knife, this scanner uses data collected on hundreds of patients to identify clots that might be passing to her brain. For the next 6 hours, the scanner constantly monitors her blood flow. Finally, Carol's operation is successfully completed, and the risk of a stroke passes. Back in the intervention room, Nick's not out of the woods. To remove a clot, doctors are inserting a catheter up through his leg into his brain. It's known as a thrombectomy.
What we did in this case is use a smaller bore catheter to grab the clot. This is actually the culprit for all his symptoms, and now we have it outside the body, and we have full restoration of flow.
Doctors are hopeful the damage to Nick's brain has been reversed. Just hours after the operation, he seems like a patient transformed.
Hello, Dr. Devlin.
How are you doing there, sir?
Pretty good, how are you? Good to see you.
Data-driven innovation is rapidly spreading in parts of the healthcare industry. Services powered by artificial intelligence are set to be worth $6.6 billion by 2021.
This technology will significantly decrease the time in which it takes us to institute definitive care for our stroke patients. Many more patients will be treated, many more patients will be cured, and many more patients will live.
The data revolution sweeping the modern world has a darker side too. Day and night, vast amounts of personal information are quietly collected from the 2.5 billion people with a smartphone.
When you go to sleep, your phone doesn't, and it's a pretty reasonable assumption that there are people who know when you're asleep and when you're awake.
It's not just smartphones. The number of connected devices collecting data about their users is on the rise and expected to reach 31 billion worldwide by 2020. And then there's the internet.
Every single web page you read, every news site you visit is pushing these little software robots called cookies onto your computer or your smartphone.
Hal Hodson is The Economist's technology correspondent.
What they're essentially trying to do is figure out what you're interested in so that they can show you ads.
Now that kind of tracking is making its way deeper into the offline world.
While I've been running, my watch has been tracking my GPS location, the way my body moves, and my pulse. Apple has patents to monitor your pulse through your earbuds, and all of that data is getting sent up to the cloud to build a profile on me and the way I run.
Today, you don't even need to be on the internet to generate data points and add to your hidden online profile.
London is a sea of surveillance too. There's probably 20 CCTV cameras within 100 feet of us right now, and every shop has a Wi-Fi network that's tracking our phones as we move through the streets.
In today's data economy, you are the product.
The data that gets generated, whether it's through a watch or through your activity on the web or moving around a city or your credit card swipes, it's all used for one thing, and that's to profile you, to understand you as a consumer.
Advertisers don't have access to all data. In Europe, strong rules protecting personal privacy were introduced to stop companies from explicitly selling your data. But even they're not as secure as they sound.
It's the trails of data that I leave. They're unique to me. And so even if you scrub my name off it, it's kind of like a fingerprint that's not attached to a name. And all you have to do is find another fingerprint that is attached to my name, and all of a sudden, all of the anonymized data gets de-anonymized all at once.
Hillary Clinton should not even be allowed to run for the presidency of the United States. She shouldn't be allowed to run.
Data-driven technologies are even being used to influence how people vote.
After decades of lies and scandal, her corruption is closing in.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Politicians are increasingly turning to data companies to mine the social media profiles of voters and to hit them with ever more targeted messages.
And we are going to...
During the 2016 US presidential election, the Trump campaign is believed to have spent tens of millions of dollars on this micro-targeting. Trump's campaign manager co-founded the company that orchestrated this, Cambridge Analytica.
It's my privilege to speak to you today about the power of big data and psychographics in the electoral process.
Cambridge Analytica built what it claimed was a powerful program to predict and influence choices at the ballot box, using the personal data of 50 million American Facebook users. But it appears they did so without users' permission. In March 2018, the company's British offices, its global headquarters, were raided by authorities, suspecting the Facebook data had been obtained and used unlawfully. It's left some voters feeling vulnerable and angry.
We have realized that there are elaborate profiles created about us that we can't see.
David Carroll is an academic and digital activist. He is fighting Cambridge Analytica in the British courts to demand the company hand over all the data it has on him.
It's important that people understand how data can be used for good and for evil. Where did they get our data? What did they do with it? How did they use it? Who did they share it with? And do we have a right to opt out of this?
David believes tracking people across the web to influence their voting behaviour poses a threat to personal privacy and undermines their democratic choices. If his lawsuit is successful, it could open up data companies like Cambridge Analytica to mass legal action from the US electorate. Now the tech giants who profit from personal data are also feeling a backlash.
I think we clearly view it as a mistake that we didn't inform people, and we did that based on...
In April 2018, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg was hauled in front of Congress to address the company's privacy violations.
Your user agreement sucks. Now, you know that, and I know that.
It's not just the titans of tech coming under closer scrutiny. In communities around the world, people are looking more carefully at how public bodies handle their data. Skid Row, Los Angeles. This neighborhood has one of the largest homeless populations in America. It's an unlikely battleground for the growing dispute over the use and exploitation of data. But it's from headquarters here that a group of citizen activists are preparing to take on the authorities.
A lot of community's going to be there, so yeah, great. Thank you.
Led by Jamie Garcia and Hamid Khan, the Stop the LAPD Spying Coalition claims law enforcement agencies are using data in a way that is unfair and biased against certain communities. Today, the activists are on their way to City Hall.
We definitely expect a lot of the community to be there. We've been organizing. It's been a long time coming.
All right, folks. We're gonna expose it, we're gonna dismantle it, and we're gonna just call their lies and their conspiracies and all of these bogus programs. I will see you guys in a couple minutes.
But the programs that have so unnerved people in this community are being hailed by others as the future of policing. In an effort to tackle crime, the Los Angeles Police Department is using a novel approach called predictive policing. Rampart Division deploys a controversial data-driven software called predictive.
Basically, it tells you the locations of where we're predicting that the crime is going to happen. So every morning we get our email from predictive that tells us where our missions are going to be for day watch and PM watch. So the email gets sent directly to us. We'll print it out for the officers, and it looks something like this.
Predpol predicts crime by analysing data from the past several years. It examines three sources: the crime type, the location, and the time. It then runs them through an algorithm that identifies 500 by 500 foot locations that officers should patrol.
And whatever you can do to give you the advantage in a situation helps us come out on top.
Sergeant David Rich has been patrolling the streets of LA for 23 years. Today he's using data, not tip-offs, to predict where crime will happen and preempt it.
So here we are at that intersection that's been identified as a problematic area as far as thefts, vehicle-related crimes. So in this Pred Pool area, a lot of vehicle crime has been reported, so I'm going to check out a car up here, make sure everything's on the up and up. Statistically speaking, if there's more police officers within an area, somebody who's looking for an opportunity to maybe break into a car, they may be less likely to do that. So simply being present is actually a deterrent.
The LAPD is trialling another program that goes one step further. To identify and track people it assesses will be the criminals of tomorrow. Anthony is an ex-offender and activist who believes his past has made him a target for the police.
They're just justifying profiling the communities they're already targeting under the guise of science and objectivity. They just kind of throw a white dragnet that you're all gang members. And then when you're put on this file, it does the algorithm, spits out a risk assessment, and you're put on this bulletin.
Operation Laser uses a point system to rank individuals based on their past behaviour. The higher your score, the greater the chance you will end up on a list of people who, according to the data, are most likely to reoffend. For LAPD chiefs, these data-driven technologies are an efficient way to reduce crime.
Data has been critically important to the police department and how we serve the community.
But researchers at Cornell University Library found that systems like PredPol are susceptible to so-called feedback loops, where police are repeatedly sent back to the same neighbourhoods regardless of the true crime rate. Back at City Hall, members of the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition are poised for the start of LA's first ever public hearing on predictive policing. Now the police must listen directly to their concerns about racial profiling.
When we look at the data that the police are collecting, that data is inherently biased. All of those things show a great impact on the Black and poor community. And they are patrolled, they are surveilled, they are monitored, they are watched, and they're harassed because they're presumed guilty.
And I would simply request that we give the department the opportunity to speak and be heard. Thank you.
There are issues when it comes to crime stats, for instance, and I acknowledge that there may be built-in biases to that as reported crime, but we are trying to get better.
The campaigners are demanding that the police release more details about how their predictive policing program works.
Hearing right now is no reassurance to us that you are transparent and you are telling us what is really going on in the city. We actually had to file lawsuits to make you be transparent, where we had to spend $400 of our own fucking money to make you be transparent.
And so for me, data-driven policing begs one question. What data will be used to target, arrest, banish, and destroy Black and brown communities? Race, gender.
We really want an audit of predictive policing programs, PredPol and Operation Laser.
Police. This shit is twisted. Abolish predictive policing. Abolish policing.
I want to find out how people have been damaged, how their civil rights, their human rights have been violated, and give them an opportunity to actually receive reparations if things have been violated.
Where do I begin to trust you with those kind of statistics? And I know my 2 minutes is up, but y'all need to begin listening instead of waiting for 2 minutes to end. When will the killing end? When will the predictive policing end? Put 2 minutes on that. Put 2 minutes on people dying in the
There's critics that are guarding rights of people, and they should do that. But I'm not sure it's a valid argument, but it's one that they should raise. If we were using something else, there will be critics. It's just the way it is.
It's frustratingly slow progress for citizen groups like the Coalition as they campaign for greater clarity on how data-driven programs work. But at least it's a campaign that here in America, they are free to pursue. In China, there's precious little discussion about the ethics of data use. And here, the state is already using data in an effort to control the behavior of its citizens. Journalist Liu Hu is barred from some hotels. He can't buy property. He can't even take a high-speed train.
你进入黑名单了，你必须要这个履行法院判决，不然的话你就会这个给你生活造成很多困扰，是吧？没人跟我说，从来没有说过。
The government here is building a social credit system using individuals' data.
那个时候我要订一张机票，然后我就发现订不了票。那个网络上的提示就是说，我是那个失信人员。
The Chinese government wants this social credit system to monitor the trustworthiness of its 1.4 billion citizens and to monitor their compliance with social norms and rules. This could eventually include close surveillance of their activities, both online and in the wider world. Behaviour deemed antisocial, such as crossing at a red light, smoking on a train, or obstructing footpaths with bikes, could lead to punishments. Liu Hu was placed on a blacklist in 2017 after a dispute about the payment of a court fine.
不了解我的人是吧？他会认为我这个人很糟糕。实际上，我觉得我还是一个很诚信的人啊。不应该在这个里面。
Different aspects of the system are still being trialled. But 12 million people have already been slapped with domestic travel bans for bad behaviour.
这样能搞好执行吗？能公正的裁决一个事情吗？因为有很多的判决和执行它是不公正的，而且这种不公正，它得不到救济，缺乏救济渠道。
As the global data revolution accelerates, its ethics are set to come under ever closer scrutiny. Debate is already raging over how to hold companies and governments accountable for how they use data. In Western democracies, checks and balances could prevent the kind of exploitation some in China are already facing. But will they?
我们对实施这套行为的人、官员、机构是没有监督的，他们可以想怎么搞怎么搞。